Week 2 comes to South Florida, the vacation paradise of Miami, as the Miami Assassins will take on the visiting Dallas Enforcers. Inside the War Memorial, it's entertainment and business as these two teams get ready to go in a fabled arena going back to 1950. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Bontempo. So glad that you're with us. We've got a lot of phenomenal news about the league to share with you later on. But first, we've got boxing action. I am so happy to be back with my pal, Al Bernstein. We had our first one together last night. How'd it go for you, your first time in TBL?
I'll tell you, number one, it was a lot of fun. But number two, you know, I used to do some college basketball and college football back in the days at ESPN. And I never thought I would be able to do a team boxing broadcast. And it was a lot of fun.
You know, we've seen a lot of people try to do novel things in boxing. This thing, that thing. This is the one over the 40 or so years we've been doing it that has stuck. So we're going to watch for that.
Yeah.
Now, in this matchup tonight, we have got parity personified with these two teams.
Boy, is that true. 12 of the first 16 matches are described as coin flips. And part of the reason is because of key players on both teams. For the Dallas Enforcers, Nico Hernandez comes into the team boxing make his debut tonight with impeccable amateur and pro experience. Malik Lark is a 135-pounder who has a lot of talent and is going to be involved in a couple of important fights tonight. And Calvin Henderson, a good pro who has got a tough assignment tonight against a legend in team boxing. And for the Miami Assassins, some of the people to watch on their team, Claudio Marrero, a terrific 135-pounder, stylish lefty, and Isaac Carbonell, who already has 22 wins in his team boxing career, and then Yuneski Gonzalez, the 40-year-old who is still a force for the Miami Assassins.
If you are new to us, and we always have more people joining, this breaks down into 8 launch rounds, then middle rounds, then the money rounds. All of them 3 minutes, 24 action-packed rounds. Now, what about the first launch segment, Al? What caught your eye?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go for round number 4, which I think is going to be a really good fight with Claudio Marrero, who we mentioned, and then Malik Lark, who is, a fighter that is going to be involved in a couple of important matches.
All right, so let the coin flips begin as we are going to get started and ready to go in week number 2 for Team Boxing League. They're coming in, and we are coming right back to get you started with Miami and Dallas.
Much better. Fat boys like us need something sturdy.
Team Boxing League is brought to you by Balance of Nature. In boxing, consistency beats intensity. Balance of Nature supplements help you stay consistent with ingredients of whole foods you can easily slot into your daily routine. Go to balanceofnature.com, use code TEAM, and start today. All right, so let's take it inside and send it over to Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the War Memorial Auditorium here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for tonight's Team Boxing League Season 4, Week 2 matchup between the visiting Dallas Enforcers and your home, Miami Assassins. Tonight's matchup is brought to you by the Team of Boxing League app, available on Apple TV 4K, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, as well as iPhone and Android devices. Don't miss a second of Team of Boxing League action. Climax Moonshine, fight number 32, known to bring the heat. Tonight's fights are powered by Balance of Nature. Our fighters fueled with clean carbs and real ingredients. And now you can too. Grab their guiltless snacks and get 35% off right now with code TEAM at balanceofnature.com and Serenity Springs Recovery Center, a place of recovery and self-discovery. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the visiting Dallas Enforcers.
All right, so this is one of the great elements of the Team Boxing League. You come in as a team, travel as a team, eat, work out, tell stories, and come in here and make your entrance collectively. You were talking about how interesting that was last night.
Yeah, indeed. And then they're all there to root their teammates on and react both positively and negatively to what goes on in the evening.
Now, when you see big developments occur, a knockout, a knockdown, or a win in a close decision, sometimes the atmosphere with the benches is electric.
Now let's meet the visiting Dallas Enforcers. Bantamweight, beat you on the win. Former National Golden Gloves champion, Team USA member, and Olympic bronze medalist, featherweight, Nico Hernandez. Marine veteran and former national champion, featherweight, Monster at Carmona. Lightweight, Malik Mubu Lork. Welterweight, Mauricio Bad News King. Middleweight, Reynald Taliba Jr. Former three-time Golden Gloves champion and Team USA member. Light heavyweight, Ambibola Space Husan Dario. Heavyweight, Shamarian Snyder. Featherweight, Michaela Rampage. Four-time national champion, lightweight, Jack the Demon Sambiaku. Four-time state Golden Gloves champion, multi-time national champion, and Olympic trialist, super lightweight, Brianna Carrera. Welterweight, Rudy Montenegro. Super middleweight, Emanuela Calhoun. Former world title challenger, cruiserweight, Calvin Hot Sauce Henderson. Three-time regional Golden Gloves champion and Olympic alternate, heavyweight, Kenyana Walker. And the head coach of the Dallas Enforcers is former Texas super middleweight champion, Tony T-Mac Mack. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome your hometown Miami Assassins.
Here comes another talented group in.
Miami coming in with some folks that are newcomers and some familiar faces with this team as well. It's a part of tonight. There are some new people coming on the scene, and they're going to be a part of things like Nico Hernandez, or in this case, some of the other folks that are on the squad, and now plus joining the people that have already been there.
Yeah, and great Cuban talent that they able to recruit into the Miami team, and
Miami
excellent coaching.
Assassins, bantamweight Jonathan Rafik. Featherweight Victor Abreu. Featherweight Ali Palejo Valle. Former Olympian and WBA IPO featherweight champion. Lightweight Claudio the Matrix Moreno. Welterweight Will Mesquia Joseph. Middleweight Giovanni Estella. Light heavyweight Isaac Carbonell. Current undisputed bare knuckle champion Gustavo the Cuban Assassin Trujillo. Featherweight Samantha Ginnathan. Lightweight Yossi de la Napolis. Super lightweight Sofia Veretti. Welterweight Ezequiel Martinez. Super middleweight Yusmel Ruiz. Two-time light heavyweight title challenger, cruiserweight Uneski the Monster Gonzalez. And heavyweight Nestor Santana. And the head coach of the Miami Assassins, world-renowned trainer, Mr. Herman Caicedo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you all please rise, if you are able to, for the singing of our national anthem being performed this evening by renowned vocalist Ernest Gonder.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed had the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Mr. Ernest Gonder with the singing of our national anthem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time
All
to
right, so
begin
we're ready.
the
A new
launch rounds here
scoring
between
system
Dallas
this year. A
and
knockout is
Miami.
4 points, and we
It
have
is the
seen that
first of
emphasized dramatically in all of our matches so far this year. A decision is 1 point. 1 knockdown gives you a bonus point for 2. 2 knockdowns gives you a bonus points for 3. We are seeing the big, the 4 backers. We've seen one every fight card so far this year.
Be due on the win. And our opening round is brought to you by the Team Boxing League app. Stream every moment of TBL Season 4 on the Team Boxing League app. Download right now on iPhone and Android devices.
All right, Jeanette Rafik and Bidou Nguyen.
2 women making their debut on Team Boxing. And obviously Nguyen is a southpaw. Both are relatively inexperienced boxers, though they've been involved in other combat sports.
And they always get us off to a good start. Good action straight ahead.
Nguyen trying to jab her way in so she can land that nice straight left hand. A good straight right, though, which of course always does well against the southpaws by Rafik.
And now she's got that loaded up.
Yeah, right. When you land it that early, it's a very good point, Dave. You feel like you zoned in.
Because early on, you know, with the 3 minutes, not that much time to work with her. She takes a good couple of shots on the inside. You try to figure out early what might work for you in this fight. And so if it was the right hand for Rafik, we'll see how quickly she goes back to it.
Both women working from range. They haven't been on the inside yet very much in this round. We're halfway through it already.
Yeah, Nguyen has to do some work to get on the inside.
Yeah, a little bit of a height and reach advantage for Rafik.
And then you do all that, and then they move laterally, and now you have to start all over.
Nguyen from Vietnam, living in Las Vegas now, and she's 2-0 as a pro, but hasn't fought as a pro since 2024. So in here off a fairly long layoff.
Yeah, we see a lot of fighters who they have fought as recently as 2023, 24, and with a little inactivity, this is their gear-up platform.
Yeah, it is. And right now, she's having a hard time with Rafik's accuracy with the right hand. And Jeanette Rafik is having herself really a pretty good first round in terms of accuracy with that punch.
Good power here from Rafik, and a nice right hand. Scores, tries to sit down in her punches a little bit more here. So a nice momentum shift for Rafik in the final minute. Will that carry her and her team to the first victory?
That first round featured what we just saw there, the straight right hand of Rafik. That was one that landed very early in the round. She was able to repeat it on a couple of occasions, including the hook, which we just saw there. So she wasn't completely a one-trick pony, but then you see the right hand was a constant story in this fight. And that one, you could almost say caused a knockdown because the ropes held her up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 1 by unanimous decision from Miami, Jeanette Rafik.
So the power of Rafik telling the story in round 1. Now we get to one that
Our next round is
talking
in the
about
featherweight
all
division.
morning.
It is brought to you by
This should be a good
Climax
one.
Moonshine Fire number 32, known to bring the heat at featherweight for Miami, Victor Abreu. He'll meet Dallas's Nico Hernandez.
So they tap it up. We get ready to go. Nico Hernandez, a 6-time Silver Gloves champion, 2000 Olympic bronze medalist, 94-5 in the amateurs. Got the first Olympic medal for a Wichita native since 1984.
Wow.
When he was able to do that. They had a parade for him in town and everything. Really celebrated nicely.
And undefeated, 12-0 outside of the team boxing league as a pro. So, and the man he's facing, Victor Abreu, who is 7-1 as a pro himself. There's Hernandez and some of the things that you mentioned, Dave.
Yeah, they really did a number for him when he got that. That was the first U.S. title in 8 years in the Olympics when he was able to get that.
Yeah, and at age 30, he's had a slow burn as a pro, but still with the undefeated record. Then he brings all that here to team boxing, which is great. And Victor Abreu, the 30-year-old who is 16-9 in team boxing, is saying, hey, I've been around here for a while, and I'm very successful in team boxing, so I'm no layover for you.
And I'm a Cuban national champ myself.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is already shaping up as a very even round. And Hernandez switching to lefty, which is intriguing.
I always wonder what message you're sending by making a stylistic shift that early.
Yeah, especially in a short fight. It's only one round. And there's Abreu doing some very good combination work.
Abreu able to contain where this fight is. It's in his office right here. And see how he's trying to cut off the ring and get that right hand and get ahead in the direction that Nico Hernandez would go, and then force him to shift back.
And Abreu fought only about 3 weeks ago, winning on a TKO in the 3rd round. So he's coming in here on a very short break after winning a pro fight outside of the team boxing.
There are a lot of interesting decisions that fighters have to make after they come off of something like that. And someone says, hey, you want to go in for a one-rounder? Might be a quick payday for you. And, you know, business being what it is, you'd be tempted to take that.
And he's such a part of team boxing. He wants to continue. He's had a very good round here. Hernandez has not gotten off offensively as well as I think he would like.
Hernandez has found himself against an elusive opponent who has set the stage here. And that's the thing you're talking about with the volume. All of a sudden, like, you blink and you're out of time.
Yeah, very good point.
All right, so we certainly like what we saw. And Abreu trying to make it 2 for the home team.
Yeah, Abreu, that was a lead right-handed. He was the attacker most of the round. We'll see if that reflects itself in the decision.
The winner of round 2 by unanimous decision, from the Miami Assassins, Victor Abreu. Round 3 in the featherweight division for Miami, Ali Paluejo Valle shall meet Montserrat Carmona of Dallas.
All right, so we get ready for round 3. And speaking of fighters coming up, Giovanni Estella will be in round 6. Welcome you to the show. Hey, how do you think the team is doing so far? What's the vibe with you guys winning? And what are your thoughts on your match?
I think we're very excited. The team's going 2-0 so far, and we got Ali going up. It should be a clean 3-0, and I'm very excited for my match. I'm the bout number 6, and I'm very excited to win for my team.
All right. We wish you the best of luck, and let that nerves settle in there for you. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Team Miami.
Hey, Team Miami, they're off to a great start, Giovanni.
That's great. That demonstrates, you know, how a boxer's getting ready for a match, and they're thinking about the team element in all this.
Thinking about the team element, usually it's curious, fighter to fighter, when does it really settle into you?
Yeah.
When the pressure is? Is it 4 fights out? Is it 2 fights out? And it's different for everybody.
Valle and Carmona here, both showing a lot of volume here early in this match. Overhand right by Valle.
Tell you what, you know, we see a lot of polished products, and yet it's always interesting to see fighters on the way up, clearing hurdle by hurdle. So for Carmona, inspired by her dad, all she wanted to do initially was to be better than her brothers. Okay, so that was win number 1. Then she wanted to get on the Marine Corps team, so that was a challenge, and she was able to do that. And then you pass level to level, and so you've already accomplished a lot when you get here.
Yeah, and she was a champion in the Marine Corps. And she's 1 and 2 here in team boxing, trying to continue and get her record up to 500 and continue on here and have some success. Valle, who is 7 and 3 in the team boxing league, in her all of that was in the 3rd season. And wow, some good combination work by Carmona.
Good uppercut to cap it, and the women have brought the goods.
Yeah, they've provided an entertaining round here with a lot of volume and punches, and Carmona working that overhand right overtime.
Final seconds, and you're always thinking, can I sneak in 1 shot, impress the judges, and get out of this?
Carmona just barely missing with more of those big overhand rights, trying to do exactly what you said.
All right, so they were winging it till the end.
Well, Carmona there landing that right hand, and that was a big part of this this round. Valle got some work done, like that straight left hand. The question is, was it as pronounced as those overhand rights as far as the judges are concerned?
We're about to find out. They had a lot to interpret in this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 3 via unanimous decision, from Dallas, Montserrat Carmona.
So, better than her brothers, then she was able to get into the Marine Corps, and she's got a point for her team tonight.
Very impressive work by her against a good opponent.
Yes. That's Dallas on the board, 2-1.
Tonight's fights are powered by Balance of Nature. Our fighters fuel with clean carbs and real ingredients, and now you can too. Grab their new guiltless snacks and get 35% off right now with code TEAM at balanceofnature.com. Round 4 at lightweight for Miami, Claudio Marrero. He'll meet Dallas's Malik Lark.
And this is the fight we highlighted at the beginning, or the round that we highlighted as special. And you know, for Malik Lark, Dave, he's on a 9-round win streak in team boxing, and Claudio Marrero, a veteran who has 20 wins in team boxing. So this is a special round.
It really is. That you get into a flow with this, and there's a way you have to learn how to win with managing your time and the output. And, you know, considering how close a lot of these are by design, that says a lot to win 9 in a row here.
Yeah, that's impressive. Marrero, the lefty, who uses that style very, very effectively. And both coaches thought this was a fight to watch.
And it's interesting, they both thought it was favorable for them.
Yeah, intriguing.
And that type of information is important because this is what goes into some of the money rounds, thinking they have to juggle. What's my lineup look like? Where do I have the edge? And they both thought they had the edge here.
And it's been, you know, a little bit of a feeling out process in this first part. Marrero was aggressive at the beginning, and then it settled in a little bit. And ironically, they're both veterans of team boxing, and yet they've never faced each other. Lark's trying to get that right hand in, both the body and the head. Marrero's been aggressive, but Lark has not been able to counter as well as he'd like.
And Marrero has been able to avert the counter for the most part.
Marrero's nature is to be aggressive, and he's, for the most part, being the one that's initiating the action.
Now, you look at a matchup and you think, okay, these are veterans. They know it's 3 minutes. They're going to go all out. But if they're intelligent, then the chess match comes in.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. They don't want to make the mistakes that will cost them the round, and yet by doing that, neither man has been as offensive as I think they might have been. Marrero's been a little bit more so. And also, both men are good defensive fighters to add to that.
Yeah, so you have styles making fights and also reputations making fights.
Overhand right by Lark that didn't quite get there, and neither did Marrero's straight left to the body. Marrero just avoided a right hand by Lark and shook his head. No, it did not land. We knew that.
This is like seeing two offensive teams in a low-scoring contest, but someone is coming out with the win. Somebody scored the last hoop.
And in the last 10 seconds, we saw both men with more offensive activity. Intriguing. Now there's Lark trying to counterpunch, and Marrero saying, no, you didn't. And that was kind of this fight in microcosm in a way, this round.
This was the round of denial. I will not let you get to me. They were so defensively successful. But somebody's getting a point.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 4 via split decision.
You know that split.
Yeah.
From Dallas, Malik Lark. We are even
All right,
at
so
2
Dallas
points apiece.
comes
as
back
we
and
enter
gets the last 2.
round 5 of the
Knots it
launch
all up.
rounds.
We've had some close ones just getting started in this great matchup. Stay with us. We'll be right back. South Florida in March. Is there anything better? Yes, there is. The Team Boxing League in a 2-2 matchup going back inside. And here's Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the launch rounds. Round 5 at welterweight. Miami, Wilimesky Joseph. He'll square off against Dallas's Mauricio King.
All right, so the coin flip that you referenced there, Al, is definitely coming true so far as we have a 2-2 knotted up affair.
Yeah, and in this one we have an interesting matchup. A very quirky fighter in Mauricio King. You're going to see he is the way all of his movements and the way he goes about this are very unique. And he throws his punches kind of awkwardly. He's on a 5-fight losing streak right now in team boxing, so he wants to turn that around. And Wilemski Joseph making his debut tonight, though he's 8-1 as a pro boxer outside of team boxing.
Yeah, King has, he puts on the show. Tonight he wants to get the dough that goes with that, you know, because he's exciting to watch and he's fun.
He's fun.
He needs to get paid on the scorecard. Now, what do you think of that defense that he's facing out? The hands held way aloft. We see that sometimes.
Yeah, it is intriguing. You know, both men early on here now starting to do a little bit of offensive work. But now, you know, and for all his eccentricities, King can be a good combination puncher. So can Joseph, as a matter of fact, the 29-year-old who is of Haitian descent now in Miami.
The Haitian sensation. Yeah. So they say.
Remember that?
Yep, that's one of the nicknames he's been carrying. And you know, to the earlier point about the eccentricity, you see a lot of emotion coming from King when he's fighting. I mean, a little more demonstrative.
Yeah, very much so. And you saw him rip that left hook downstairs. He's aggressive. He will try and get his offense mounted. And Joseph trying to use that long jab and use his height and reach advantage effectively. Joseph has 6 knockouts as a pro. There was a nice right hand, so he does have pop.
He showed you a little bit of it moments ago with that right hand.
And for Joseph, in the first team boxing match he's had, again, you have to get that understanding of the urgency of getting your offense done in this 3-minute period. And he's a knockout artist who sometimes is looking for that big knockout punch.
I've seen fighters over the last year and a half, I bet the 5th fight, they know a lot. Something is settled. Somebody's talked to them. Hey, you know, you could be starting sooner here.
Yeah, very good point. And Joseph is a neophyte to this. He's had some good moments. King has been busier, though. And we'll see if that translates to the scorecard. King, as we mentioned, wants to get off the snide and get a win here. He's certainly in the hunt here. This has been a close round. Joseph using the jab to range find the right hand, but that hasn't quite gotten there yet.
But the reach was a dilemma for King in this fight.
Looking back on this one, King was busy when he got on the inside. Both men throwing combinations there. King with maybe getting a little bit more done in that sequence.
So who will get the W? Talk about King's emotions.
He wears them on his sleeve.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 5 by unanimous decision from Dallas, Mauricio King.
Here you go.
The losing streak is history.
Hey, and you know, you try to build right away, so that's good. You know, that you put the work in. Keep yourself in the fight.
Our next round is brought to you by Serenity
You might
Springs
get the call.
Recovery Center, a place of recovery and self-discovery.
And
And
TBL
middleweight for
Bellas
Miami, Giovanni
doing their work.
Esteban. For Dallas, Reynard Taliba Jr.
All right, so there's Giovanni Estella. We spoke with him earlier. Excited about where his team was. He's been a good leader for this team.
He's had 2 wins over Isaiah Elrod, who we saw last night be so impressive in winning a couple matches. So that was a big win for him for sure. And Elrod, like Talib, is a left-hander.
Estella has a 76-inch reach, so that's awfully good asset.
He's facing a man, though, who's 14-7 in team boxing and has carved out a very good niche for himself in this league.
See a veteran move there by Estella. You try the double jab and nothing is there, and you just quickly cover up and see what you can get the next time. You don't linger. It's like, I'll send it the next play. Now, certain craftsmen and certain veterans may be a little more successful when they do this, switching.
Yeah, he moved. Again, it's a question of whether you want to do that in the 1-round fight. These 2 men, though, they've been involved in team boxing, never faced each other before.
Could be something like, I'll try something, see if I can get a new look out of him.
Yeah, good left hook by Estella. Another weapon that's underused against southpaws, but there's the hand speed of Talib. He's a very good combination puncher, and he's used that to good effect in fights outside the TBL, where he's 10-1. And that's the switching now by Estella that you mentioned before, and now he's back to righty. Good work on the inside by Estella, but then, you know, Talib has a way of coming back. And that's why tonight we're seeing a lot of close rounds as advertised.
It was a good uppercut. Yes, indeed. As these fighters are very skilled.
Estella may have gotten Talib's attention with one of the right hands he just landed, and then he went downstairs to the body. So while Talib has a more eye-popping record of 14-7 to the 6-5 of Estella, this has been a very, very well-fought and close round.
Talib has worked with an excellent trainer in Bobby Benton. Says that boxing took him off the streets, so he's grateful for the direction it gave him. What is this here? This is a late knockdown.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a real game changer so late in this contest.
Yeah, Talib questioning whether that should have been called, but yeah, it definitely, and it's going to add a point to Estella and his team.
It always hurts, but it hurts more there just before the end.
We'll take a look at it here, and well, you can make a strong case that was a push. We'll look at it again, and yeah, I mean, that was much more of a push. That really wasn't a punch that landed, so you understand Talib being not thrilled about that call.
A tough way to lose a point, and then it energizes one team and deflates another.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 6 by unanimous decision. 2 points going to Miami's Giovanni Estella. The score, Miami 4, Dallas 3.
So Miami takes the lead back. Now we've got a real good one here with Osun Dairo and Carbonell.
Round 7 at light heavyweight for Miami, Isaac Carbonell. For Dallas, Ambibola Osundario.
All right, so Osun Dairo says when he comes in, I don't even look at my opponent if I can help. I look away because of what I'm about to do to him.
Is that, now he's an actor, is that method acting?
I think you're very well versed in that. I think he's, you know, I think he was standing on a spot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I only play myself in movies, so we can't use me as a judge of acting. two really good 32-year-olds, couple of left-handers, both with lots of success in TBL. 19 wins for Osundario and 22 wins for Carbonell. This has the makings of a really good round.
Dairo, #1 amateur, 3-time Golden Gloves champion. And actually somebody who has kind of emphasized the perseverance necessary for success as the mouthpiece is out and then back in. He came in, he was getting spots on people's benches.
Yeah.
That was in season 1. Then season 2, a little better. Season 3, a star for Dallas. And you stick to it long enough and retain things, and you can climb up like he has.
Yeah, both men have had good success in team boxing, and you're right. His was a slower burn than Carbonell's. And so far in this round, both men have just barely missed offensively. Both have been stabbing that jab to the midsection a lot. It was Osundario doing it. He's really tried that several times.
The good left hand pops through. And, from schooled fighters, you know that the jab downstairs is trying to set something else up. And then the other fighter says, I know what you're doing, and I'm getting out of here.
I mean, Carbonell has beaten in team boxing, some really top names like Jesse Hart and Ronald Ellis, who are both world contenders, world title contenders outside of in the regular boxing world. We have a little stoppage here, maybe for a clash of heads.
Let's hope this is not too serious. The southpaw and the right-handed style. You see no gash, and that's a good thing. Both of them will be warned. Each is saying to the referee, make sure you tell him.
Yeah. Osundario also with some big wins over two over Money Powell, who we saw being so impressive last night. This round has been interesting because probably more volume coming from Osundario, maybe, but neither man has been super effective offensively. And a lot of awkward action like that.
And I think the styles have contributed to that, and a good defensive level for both fighters. It makes you throw from an angle you don't want to because he's got the good defense, and now you're firing punches from the side because you're off to the side a little bit.
It was one of the better jabs Carbonell has thrown in this round and landed. Neither man has been too effective with that punch, other than maybe occasionally to the body.
And they'll have time to think about the adjustments they want to make, because we will see them in round 14. That will be an intriguing matchup.
Well, here's an example of Osundario coming in trying to be aggressive, but the awkward stylistic situation, and that's where the clash of heads happened that caused the stoppage. And that was early in the round where the mouthpiece went out. That was one of the jabs that Carbonell was able to get in.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 7 by unanimous decision, from Miami, Isaac Carbonell. Round 8 at heavyweight. For the Assassins, it'll be Gustavo Trujillo.
And for a look at what's going on
for Dallas,
after this round, we're going to take a look at what's going on in the future. But right now, we got an excellent round ahead of us.
And we do to close out the launch rounds. Back and forth as predicted. The one extra point that Miami got with that late knockdown for Estella, and that is a a big difference in what has been a tight back and forth struggle. There's a good right hand coming right out of the chute for Snyder. Let's take a look at Trujillo, Mr. Bare Knuckles champion. I took a look at some of his action today. Undefeated in everyone has been a knockout, and he's carried that into here. He's a reigning champ for that, so you've got the psychology of being a title holder.
Yeah, and he's undefeated outside of the team boxing league as a pro in regular boxing, and 12-9 in team boxing league action. So lots of success for him.
And when he's been doing it well, he drops the right hand like a hammer. So we'll see if he's able to do that here.
And for Snyder, in his team boxing debut, got a tough assignment, but he is 10-3-1 as a professional with 8 knockouts outside of the team boxing league. So he's had some success.
If you did the scouting, you'd see that Trujillo loves to walk straight to you and load up the right hand, which works for him.
Yeah.
In the bare knuckles, maybe one punch knockdowns and a lot of power from him, beating world champions too.
Yeah, and he is pressuring Snyder, as he always does. As you point out, he's a come-forward fighter, Trujillo, who's looking for that big right hand.
Tried to get it home there. Did it behind the jab.
Snyder's coming in off his last pro fight where he suffered a TKO loss to Andrew Tabiti. So trying to change the momentum of his career at this moment. But he's having a tough time getting his offense started against Trujillo.
And Trujillo's jab just moved the head of Snyder enough that then it was open for that right hand for just a second.
And there it was, the first one that I think really hurt Snyder and made him shell up and now hold on.
Trujillo going for more now.
He'd like to add a point, wouldn't he? Or 4 points if he could.
Yeah, there's a lot of thunder. If, one good shot can turn 1 into 4 in a heartbeat.
Well, we just saw that, didn't we? Even though it might not have been a punch.
Oh, and a good combination there from Trujillo, who is sensing it now. The clock may get in the way. And it does, but good round back and forth, good power from Trujillo. A good final minute.
And there's the right hand that really stunned Snyder toward the end of the round. Beauty by Trujillo. It's actually surprising Snyder didn't go down from that punch.
Talk for a few. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 8 by unanimous decision, from Miami, Gustavo Trujillo. At the end of the launch rounds, Miami
a big
leads
win
Dallas
for Trujillo, as we suspected it might be, that keeps Miami now ahead 6-3 in this matchup. And as for what's coming up in the future, let's get some information from Dave Bontempo.
Hey, Al, we're loving the action so far, and we still have more tomorrow night to conclude TBL week number 2. Boston and Phoenix, 2 of my favorite teams, because Boston made the playoffs last year and just missed a couple key injuries, kept that team from going further. And Phoenix, a new team last year, impressed a lot of people, got into the postseason, and was a dangerous team all season long. Boston and Phoenix. Then we take the break. Then on April 10th, it's Houston and New York City. The Attitude. Forget about it. We're going to have a great time, both tomorrow night and on April 10th. Stay with us on TBL.
All right, you're taking a look at the Miami skyline, and the Assassins up 6-3. And some major news coming. Miami right now is one of 12 teams, but that is about to change. We have monumental news breaking for the TBL. The league will expand next year to 20 teams. Wow. We will have teams overseas, and this is terrific. This is a major move forward for this league all next year.
Yeah, on several fronts, as we look at what's going to happen in this new season, not only adding 8 teams, but European teams being integrated as well, Dave.
You know, you talk about how big it is for the NFL for one game to take place in Europe. Well, you're going to have a whole part of a league in Europe now, and this is a great move for CEO and the commissioner, Kevin Cassidy. We salute that. San Diego, Phoenix, Vegas Hustle, and Los Angeles Dynasty. And you're going to see new teams in Dublin, Birmingham, London, Manchester, Chicago, Detroit, and San Juan. I won the pool about what the teams would be domestically that were going to be added, but the other ones, no. So quite a great surprise, and more great things coming to you. We couldn't be more excited about what's coming for the TBL, not just for the rest of Season 4, but moving forward. All right, what's the round to watch?
Well, the round to watch in the next one is going to be round 15, which is going to be Yuneski Gonzalez and Calvin Henderson. That one is an interesting matchup because Gonzalez, of course, the 40-year-old who is kind of legendary in this league, and then Calvin Henderson, a good professional who is going to try and handle him.
All right, a lot of new personalities, a lot of platforms, and we are going to go inside and pick it up now for the middle rounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to begin the middle rounds between Miami and Dallas. Our next round is brought to you by the Team Boxing League app. Stream every moment of TBL Season 4 live on the Team Boxing League app. All available on Apple TV 4K, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, as well as iPhone and Android devices. Don't miss a second of TBL Team Boxing League action. Round 9 at featherweight for Miami, Samantha Ginnathan. She'll collide against Dallas's Michaela Rampage.
All right, Ginnathan and Rampage. A couple of fighters who also have credentials from outside the traditional sense of boxing.
And Rampage, you know, 2 of her 3 TBL losses, she's 2-3, came to Shaquilla Ellis, who is a great undefeated fighter in team boxing.
Get a look here at Ginnathan, 2-time Golden Gloves champion, Rookie of the Year, very accomplished performer in her time in the TBL.
Yeah, she's shown a lot in this league already.
Ginnathan trying to establish a bigger lead for Miami. It's been on a run at one point.
Yeah.
Dallas led 3-2, but Miami has bolted out now to a 6-3 lead. And as we have seen already, one punch can change a lot.
A knockdown played a role in that for sure. Good straight jab by Ginnathan.
Tries to follow that up, averting the jab and then getting on the inside.
Rampage with an MMA background, 5-4 in MMA action, and also pro boxing where she was 2-0. So she's done a bunch of the combat sports disciplines. Ginnathan's got 12 wins in team boxing, and it's part of what made her a finalist for the 2024 Rookie of the Year honors. She's been aggressive, and boy, has that right jab been effective for Ganithian. But finally, a good counter right hand by Rampage.
Yeah, Ganithian decided to gamble. She threw that left hand off the good right jab that had started her in, and that opened up her vulnerability and the excitement for those watching it.
This round has been a lot about, again, the straight right of Rampage. So that's one element that has kind of come to play in the last 45 seconds of this round after the jab of Ganithian kind of dominated things.
And that plays to the adjustment we talk about. You see something and what might work, and you see that jab coming at you a number of times, and maybe that straight left hand, and all of a sudden you find your distance.
And here you've got to do that adjustment quickly in 3 minutes. Interesting round for sure.
Yeah, they both had their moments. Question of who had more.
Some blood from the nose that probably came from one of those jabs like that for Rampage. And again, there's that strong jab by Ganithian. And it was a big factor in that round. Was it the deciding factor?
The winner of round 9 by unanimous decision from Miami, Samantha Ganithian.
So the Miami Express continues to roll. 5 in a row now. Jack Sambiaku will try to take that back.
Brought to you by
For
Climax
Dallas.
Moonshine Fire number 32, known to bring the heat at lightweight for Miami. Yosidel Napoles. He'll meet Dallas's Jack Sambiaku.
So maybe a little pressure going to mount now for Sambiaku. Trying to be the stopper for his team.
And he's probably the man they want in this spot. You know, his coach, Mac, has a lot of confidence in him and thinks he has been very effective, 9-5 in the team boxing league. And so he's probably a guy you'd want in this spot to try and turn the momentum around. He's got a really good right hand, although right now, you know, Napoles is coming on.
So let's take a look at Jack, who's got 18 knockouts in 26 amateur fights, and that is a pretty stunning percentage for the amateur fights. You know, where they're shorter, and a lot of times you're going for headgear and points, and he has a lot of other credentials. He started boxing a long time ago.
You know, Napoles is doing some very good work with the right hand. Landed a straight right, and then a moment ago he landed an uppercut. So Sambiaku being aggressive, which is his nature, but Napoles doing a little bit of good counter punching as well. Napoles from Miami, originally from Cuba. 25-year-old who's 7-1 outside of the team boxing league. Lots of success.
Now he's trying to use the ring to his advantage.
And lands a big right hand. Napoles has moved very effectively in this fight and made it work for him. There's the right hand by Sambiaku, but Napoles returns it. Wow.
I'm not impressed. That's a pivotal moment, because
it is.
You throw your big shot and you expect that to set some things up for you, but it was answered. Boy, you know the point you're making about how he's using this ring, gazelle-like in there as far as how he's moving and then springing into action.
Yeah, not just moving, but punching off of that movement. Digging a left hook downstairs as well.
I mean, if you can leap forward like he's doing, you can afford to go back a little more just to be sure that you're out of punching range.
And the Siambaku right hand, which is really a good punch, has just not been able to get there yet. And there's an example of one just being a little bit short. Napoli's beat Austin DeLay last season, a very good team boxing performer who, of course, had been a contender in the boxing world beyond TBL. And a lot of good action here.
Yeah, DeLay, one of the top fighters on the Nashville team, and his father, Fred, the coach of that team, who we heard from, a very classy guy.
Well, there's the Siambaku right hand, but that was where it didn't really do a lot of damage to Napoli's, and he came back with his own, and there landed that right hand as well. So the one time Siambaku was able to get it in, it didn't do a lot of damage.
He has to hope the judges only saw the replay of his.
Exactly, yeah.
Didn't you see? See how I nailed him? All right. Which direction will this
The
go?
winner of round 10 via unanimous decision. From Miami, UC DAL Napolis.
It's a very impressive performance by him.
Your score, Miami
At a key
8,
time.
Dallas 3. As we enter round 11 at super lightweight for Miami, Sofia Veretti. She'll take on Dallas's Brianna Carrera.
Any
Cabrera, well, there was a very nice right hand landed by Sofia Veretti.
Can the Miami momentum continue, or is Dallas about to take this away? Boy, the beautiful edge of the height and reach and the intangible benefit when you use it.
Carrera at 22 is, you know, somebody that they think could get something done here because she's 10-8 in team boxing with a lot more experience than Veretti.
Veretti missed with that looping right hand. And then went back and tried the jab. And the uppercut by Carrera did not get there. And she was beaten to the punch there with the jab.
A little body work by Carrera, which she was good at, but couldn't quite get it into play. And Veretti, much like Napoli's, while she's coming forward, is doing it using throwing some angles in against Carrera, not making it easy for her to counterpunch. And a missed overhand right by Carrera. This one, you know, both women have had their moments of doing good work, and there's the right hand by Carrera. The early start for Veretti was impressive, though, especially with the right hands.
And she's kept her distance pretty well here, and you can contain the geography there. You may look like the ring general to an extent. And we saw some frustration coming across from Brianna.
You know, even though there's an edge for Miami and they're ahead in this, each of these rounds, most of them have been pretty close, as we suggested. There was Carrera landing that left hand as a counterpunch, and she did do that from time to time, even though the range of Veretti gave her some problems.
Yeah, on the she was just missing, and we saw the frustration that was on her face for Carrera. A couple times, like, I know I'm so close to getting inside and I'm just missing. The opponent was elusive, and to their credit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 11 via split decision from Dallas, Brianna Carrera.
Perseverance pays off for Carrera. She fought through the frustration, and she gets the win for
Our
Dallas.
next round is brought to you by champions don't just train hard, they train consistently. Balance of Nature's new guiltless snacks help support energy, recovery, and performance. Go to balanceofnature.com and use the code TEAM for 35% off your first order. Round 12 at welterweight for Miami, Ezequiel Martinez. Taking on Dallas's Rudy Montenegro.
All right, we push ahead now that Dallas has broken the streak of Miami. You got Montenegro and Martinez.
And both these men in their team boxing debuts tonight, so we're going to see how they can handle this format. Martinez 5-0 in pro boxing beyond it.
All right, we love to talk to the fighters as it's going on. Ms. Dawson, Dario, hey, great for you to join us. We saw one fight for you. What is it like to fight twice? What adjustments are you going to try to make the second time?
I'm going to be more physical, more dominant with the jab, and more countering. I'm going to use more counters to attack.
You guys had kind of styles that negated each other a little bit during that. How do you account for that?
Yeah, so we're both southpaws, so you know, southpaws don't usually face a lot of southpaws, so we have to adjust. We have to find adjustments in the ring, which I'm going to do.
All right, well, thank a lot. Good luck to you. Go in and think about those adjustments, and we're going to be calling them in just a little bit.
Okay, let's go, Dallas. Thank you, everybody.
All right. So we'll see him coming up, and basically we will be seeing if he can do that. At least the one good thing, he talked about southpaws having to face southpaws. Yeah. You don't have the southpaws complaining about fighting southpaws. Always like that. Hey, we're just southpaw. That's not right.
Yeah, exactly. They're used to seeing righties.
Right, so
good left hook on the inside there by Montenegro.
So even though Miami has had a string of wins, we haven't seen the big bopper yet, the big TNT four-pointer. We've seen a two-pointer for Miami, so you still get the idea that one development could change it. We'll see if the big power circuit comes into play here.
Yeah, that scoring change for this season.
It has been emphatic with the four-pointers, and I think coaches are drafting fighters that may go for it like that. Meantime, it's been back and forth, and Dallas trying to pressure. Montenegro trying to make it 2 in a row for his team.
And he's had some good moments here. We'll see if it was enough to get him a decision in this one. And looking back here, he's pressuring, and there he lands a good hook and a straight right hand. Some work also back from Montenegro, and that short right hand from Montenegro off the ropes was very impressive, and he was blasting away. And those were legal blows. They actually didn't end up behind the head, which was close to being.
Both fighters wondering, did I do enough? When you think it's close, you
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 12 by unanimous decision from Miami, Ezequiel Martinez.
So Martinez prevents Dallas from stringing a couple wins together, and Miami stretches out its lead to 9-4. When we come back, we'll see Austin Dyro and the rest of the middle rounds. Stay with us. Halfway through the event, Miami liking what it sees so far and hoping that the Assassins can continue. The Dallas Enforcers want to say something about that. Let's get back into the ring.
We enter round 13 at super middleweight. Miami will feature Yusmela Ruiz. Dallas will showcase Emmanuel Calhoun.
All right, up for grabs still, a 5-pointer. Couple power shots, and you can be back. That's the Dallas viewpoint, and from the Miami viewpoint, they say we've been stringing a lot of good bouts together.
And yeah, Mel Ruiz is a fighter who is 4-9 in team boxing all last season. He's got a good style, but sometimes his style's a little timid in terms of volume, and that probably accounts for some of those losses. He doesn't quite get off the snide enough in the first, in what is 3 minutes of boxing.
And that's interesting because the initial perception of this is, okay, they come right out and they just roar and they get into action. But it's a lot harder for people to open up than it looks.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in the sport where you're used to having more than 3 minutes. And for Calhoun, he's coming in off a 2.5-year layoff. He hasn't fought. He's had his pro fight in 2023. He's 1-0 as a pro. And so he's coming in off a long time of not being in the ring.
And you could have ring rust at a long fight, but shaking it off here, it's a daunting task. I guess
very good point.
Maybe you almost projected, okay, well, we'll get your quote-unquote ring rust off early in the season, and then we'll try to build you.
That's a good point also. I mean, you want to get him going. He's, of course, got that left-handed stance and hoping that helps him in this fight. Ruiz in his second season of team boxing. Ruiz just tried the right. He has a good right hand. Not a huge power punch, but he can land it. And Calhoun wants to really get the jab working, which he's starting to do.
This Miami team done an excellent job with where the fight is taking place.
Yes, very good point. They've controlled the geography of the ring for the most part, and we kind of see Ruiz doing a little bit of that as well. And it's ironic because you wouldn't think one thing would carry over from one fight to the other or be the same with all the boxers, but that's one aspect that is very similar.
And then you start to think, well, maybe they've drilled that in their coaching and a team philosophy with that, because that is the difference, because the Dallas team, they're fighting hard. They're in there.
Absolutely.
And, nobody is overmatched.
No.
We talked about the parity, and I think that's been the difference that Miami's been able to execute.
Well, Herman Caicedo, of course, the coach of Miami, a well-respected coach, as is Coach Mack for Dallas. But Caicedo is one of those guys who takes this assignment very seriously.
And so another nail biter as far as the judging is concerned. The fighters. Dallas hoping you can get back into it. Miami, you're trying to extend out. This would be their biggest lead if they could win this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 13 by split decision from Miami, Usman Ruiz.
So Miami is off to its largest
Our
lead
next
at
round is
6.
brought to you by Serenity Springs Recovery Center, a place of recovery and self-discovery. Round 14 at light heavyweight, Miami, Isaac Carbonell. Dallas, Ambibola Osundairo.
All right, the rematch, and we heard from Osundairo talking to us a couple rounds ago that he intends to be more active. He's had time to think about it, and I guess the good thing is you're fighting the same guy. And the two lefties, he made that point with us as well.
And I think the question is, for Carbonell, can he got the jab in effectively in that first round, and that may have been why he ended up moving ahead. Can he keep doing that? And here, of course, we talked a little bit about his background in the first fight.
Yeah, actor and trainer for Osundairo. Been a highly accomplished boxer. And we also talked about that he, little by little, year by year, worked his way up the ladder. One of the more hard-working stories that we have seen on the circuit. I mean, you get discouraged when you go out and you do it and the team takes you in and you're a reserve. And then you say, I have to come back and do all this next year and then get a spot on the team. You get a little bit more. It's one thing to say, hey, year by year they grow, but, you know, the patience that requires.
Yeah, you could see that over the course of time. And, it ended up resulting in a 19-9 overall record. Now, of course, he's got the 10th loss, but in team boxing. Good left hand by Carbonell. Osundairo's trying to be aggressive, but it's, again, ending up with a lot of awkward action on the inside from both men.
And this has replaced the jab for them. You can get some spacing with the jab, and you're not doing that.
And Carbonell had some success with that jab in the first round, but not as much in this one.
Osundairo just missed with a near lights out left hand. He was thinking 4 when he threw it.
And that would be very welcome for his team right now. Good downstairs work by Osundairo. And, Carbonell's given him a little bit of a chance by languishing on the ropes a little bit in this round. But Osundairo has not always been able to take advantage. And he gets a caution for the head, and they had a clash of heads in their first round.
And you get the visual demonstration of how hard it has been for them to establish distance to do their best work. They're tying up, or the heads come together, the warnings. And even though fighters want to adjust. We're seeing more of the referee than we want to.
Yeah, he's cautioning both men. And that takes time off the clock, too.
And in a one-round fight, they may not catch on quick enough about who's tying up and maybe trying to delay. And
Osundairo has been coming forward a little bit more than Carbonell, but it hasn't been effective aggression, and has he landed the good punches because of it?
Ooh, dangerous to push him like that. It's after the bell.
Doesn't look like there'll be any point deduction, but you're not going to fight these two guys to your cocktail party, that's for sure.
No, at the very least, you got some bad blood, and that was clearly after the bell. They could have, if they wanted to, they could have deducted a point. Pushing off, and we've had heads to get. So this was not stylistically, it could not work out for these guys.
Both men very animated about what
Fight fans, the winner of round 14 by split decision.
Again.
From Dallas, Ambibola Osundairo.
I think that even if it was muffled, the idea of the aggression was big for Osundairo.
Cruiserweight for Miami, Yuneski Gonzalez. For Dallas, Calvin Henderson.
Hot sauce. The Music Man, Calvin Henderson.
And this was the match we were pointing to and talked about as a key match in this round. And it is that for a couple of reasons. One, Dallas got back a little bit in that last round, and they need to do it heading into the money rounds. Again here.
Calvin Henderson, 19-2-1. He's been in the top 10. Has a Bachelor of Arts in Music Education from the University of Arkansas.
Yes.
Hence, the Music Man for him.
He is a very accomplished musician. He's talked about that. I've done a number of Calvin Henderson fights over the time, and it's always fun to engage him in conversation about that. And he wants to make sweet music here by getting a win, his 6th in team boxing competition, while facing Gonzalez, who at age 40 continues to perform well.
There's a good right hand coming in from Gonzalez.
Henderson is the kind of fighter who, in his pro fights, it takes a while to percolate. And I think that's part of the reason why, even though he has a 19-3-1 record in pro fights outside team boxing, he's a little sub 500 in team boxing, because he's not the kind of fighter that is going to get things cooking right away.
And that's a big factor, and some fighters can adjust to it. It's like being a distance runner, and they say, okay, now you're going to sprint. And there's a lot that goes with that.
And Gonzalez has tailored what he does to that. He's, you know, and right now he's showing that with coming forward, doing body work, lots of combinations. He does not fight like a 40-year-old. I mean, really.
He looks ripped like a much younger man.
Yeah, and he's winging the combinations in the overhand right. And this is, every time, win or lose, it's always entertaining when Gonzalez fights. And he wants the crowd to acknowledge that.
He's trying to step it up in the final minute. Well, even the misses look good.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I mean, he is winging them. I find it fascinating, a guy like Henderson, to have all that ability away from boxing and be accomplished at a level like that.
Yeah, and how cerebral he is has helped him in boxing. But again, it's funny. That allows him to control the arc of fights, but not necessarily 3 minutes.
No, right.
You know, he needs time to kind of figure out his opponent and make that work. Now, he's getting offensive here at the end here of this round.
But in the meantime, it has been Gonzalez who has been able to get off the mark.
Well, if life begins at 40, when that expanded season happens next year, Gonzalez is going to be also beating fighters from Europe.
Yes, wow, that was quite a performance for him. That is a testament to his stamina and his presence here.
Yeah, there's an example. That was that sequence where he just raked Henderson over the coals on the ropes, and here again, and the way he varies his attack from the body and the head is very impressive. Henderson able to land some counter punches, which you can do against Gonzalez, but not super effective with them.
He got started on the later side, so the judges will tell us when they thought he did his best work, but it looked like a very good
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round
for
15 by unanimous decision. From Miami, Yuneski Gonzalez.
Showing the younger people how it's done. Excellent job by Gonzalez.
Round of 16, the final medal round will be in the heavyweight division. For Miami, it is Nestor Santana. For Dallas, Kenyon Walker.
And that is a personable man, Kenyon Walker. Gave an interview and he said, you know, my name's Kenyon Walker and I spend too much money on food. Went on to say that if it wasn't for boxing, I'd be a fat ass. So it reminded me when I saw that. Yeah, when I saw that, it reminded me of all the people we've seen over the years and the changes in technology and everything. How younger on social media, they are willing to put that out and be self-deprecating and spread that and turn something into strengths. And it gets a lot of hits on it and everything like that.
Well, in team boxing, he has a 500 record at 6-6, and he was had a very good amateur career that was noted by Ray Flores at the beginning. And he will switch back and forth from lefty to righty, and we'll see how much he does that against Nestor Santana. Santana, pretty good body puncher, not the quickest with his hands.
Good combination here.
Santana coached in the pro ranks by Herman Casado, who coaches this team as well.
That's kind of a nice double perspective to have.
And he's undefeated as a pro, 6-0 right now outside of team boxing. But he's had limited success in this venue, though, in team boxing. 5 wins, but 14 losses. And he'd like to change that record a little bit tonight.
Walker coming forward, trying to tie up Santana.
And Santana ripping the left hook. He can be a powerful puncher, and especially when he goes downstairs, which he tried to do there. Walker does not want the fight to be on the inside, so he's tying up Santana so he can get on the outside and use his jab and superior hand speed. And there he lands a good straight right hand to the head of Santana.
Showed you exactly why he was trying to do that tie-up. If you think you're ahead, you try to milk those referee interventions, and if you're behind, you're trying to push out.
Oh my!
And there is the right-hand bomb that dropped from Nestor Santana. They were mixing it up on the inside, and this could be 4. It is a 4-point TNT explosion from Nestor Santana. The big man found the big opening and dropped it.
Well, I referenced the power of Santana, and that is always a potential game changer, and it was here. ironically, it was with the overhand right. Probably more of Santana's power is normally in the left hook. There's the left hook to the body, which he does well, but then the overhand right came over a lazy jab of Walker, and man, did it land perfectly.
And credit for Santana to see and react that quickly.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 16 by knockout, 4 points going to Miami's Nestor Santana.
Comes over
Your
good
score
sportsmanship
as we conclude
with
the middle
Kenyon
rounds.
Walker.
Miami 15.
All right,
Dallas
so
5.
the big man
The money rounds
delivers
are
the
on
big
the way.
goods. Nestor Santana gives us our first 4-pointer with a shot. Heard round the TBL world. We'll be back for the money rounds right after this. Well, the money rounds are going to be starting as you get an evening look. Miami, Florida, and just up the road in Fort Lauderdale, the Miami Assassins are doing a number, and they are getting into the money. They certainly did in the middle rounds, Al.
Yeah, that's for sure. They did a great job overall and punctuated it with 2 great fights by the big guys.
The last 2 rounds of the middle rounds, very good for Miami, and put a big spin on this for them.
Yeah, and in round 15, we saw Yanniski Gonzalez taking on Calvin Henderson, and he took it to him right away and showed us why at 40 years of age he is a force in this league. And even though some good work from Henderson in return, Gonzalez was just a ball of activity and ended up getting a decision win in a very impressive effort. And then Nestor Santana, who may well have been behind in this round, came back near the end with this overhand right and showed the power that he is known for, and that created a 4-point difference, just what they needed. They were already ahead.
Yeah, well, we said that 4-point impact, we're waiting to see who's going to do it. In this case, it was the team that was way out in front. So a 40-year-old looking like he's 28, and then the big boy gets it done, the big boppers in the heavyweight division. So therefore, Miami is now on a great run before we go into the money rounds. What about our round to watch? What's your favorite?
Well, we originally selected this because we thought it might be what would be deciding this, but I'm not sure it will. A rematch of Victor Abreu and Nico Hernandez, which Abreu won in the first rounds. And, you know, we'll see if it has an impact, but we'll see if it's a good matchup moving forward.
It was good the first time, so we would like to see how it plays out in here. So we're getting ready for the money rounds, and let's take it inside and conclude the final segments of this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we enter the money rounds here in South Florida. We want to let you know to stream every moment of TBL Season 4 live on the Team Boxing League app, available on Apple TV 4K, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, as well as iPhone and Android devices. Don't miss a second of TBL Team Boxing League action. We begin the money rounds at cruiserweight. For Miami, Yuneski Gonzalez. For Dallas, it'll be Kelvin Henderson.
All right, the money rounds will begin. Henderson and Gonzalez. We just saw them a little while ago. This is a fast turnaround.
Yeah, very much so. Now, you would think that fast turnaround might help the younger man, the 35-year-old, though that's still a boxing veteran, but we'll see. With Gonzalez, you can't bank on something like that.
All right, so we plow ahead here. Miami is on a superior run. All right, so I'd like to welcome in Samantha Githian, who has been in the middle of this big Miami run. First of all, what was that like for you, and how are you liking how your team is doing here?
It's Samantha Ginnathan.
Okay, we got you, Ginnathan.
You know, I like it. You got me. I see myself up there.
All right, what about your run here?
I'm happy with it. Yeah, I think we're doing great as a team.
Yeah, you were right in the middle of that too. You had a big win for them.
Yeah, I just did my thing. I just did what I do. I get in my rhythm and I do my southpaw magic.
Well, you had a style edge there, and that really seemed to help you.
Yeah, I got to go back in there because of that knockout from Nestor Santana. So I was part of the first swing round. So I'm taking his next round in the money round, which is like 21-22. But it's looking good for Team Miami. I'm happy with how it's going.
Okay, thanks for joining us, and go take care of business.
Thank you.
All right, so Miami on the big run here.
Yeah, Samantha Ginnathan will be pinch hitting in the final in the money rounds. Gonzalez coming forward, and again with that overhand right that's been so effective for him. And going to the body again, continuing that work, Gonzalez, and Henderson trying to counter him effectively.
So a little bit of a different pace, but you can still see the intensity of these guys. It's not a big turnaround. It's one of the fastest we've seen.
Absolutely, and you've been around this team boxing league for a while, and I was caught by that as well. And not as frenetic, but it has been mostly, again, Gonzalez coming forward and initiating the action more. And Henderson trying to counter punch and pick his spots. Did he do enough of it to change the outcome from the first round they fought?
And here is the 40-year-old saying, yeah, all right, so it wasn't that. I mean, I've seen fights, we come back 40 minutes later, and you have a lot of time to think about it. These guys kept their focus, and you see the badge of war.
Yeah, the Henderson jab landed some in that fight, during that round, and that could have impacted the nose of Gonzalez. But Henderson spent a lot of time on the ropes, as he did in the first round they fought, and it didn't serve him well. We'll see how it reflects itself in the scoring.
Fight fans, the winner of round 17 by unanimous decision. From Miami, Yuneski Gonzalez.
Great
Our next
performance
round
by
is
him.
brought to you by Climax Moonshine, fire number 32, known to bring the heat. And lightweight for the Miami Assassins, Yossi Del Napoles. For the Dallas Enforcers, Malik Lark.
This is fascinating because both these men won their first fights, and Lark, one of the few Dallas fighters that has been able to get off the snide and win a match, and Napoles fought extraordinarily well against Jack Sambiaku.
And so the mindset, you've got two guys who are expecting to win. And you come out here and a little bit more bounce in the step, and oh.
And we talked about how Napoles was able to use the ring effectively in the his first round, and we'll see if that continues against Lark, who's winging with the right hand, trying to get a big right hand in, and did get well, there's Napoles landing his own right, which he did a lot in the first round. And we saw this fight in maybe this round in microcosm, because he landed the right and then Lark landed a counter left hook.
Yeah, he had the courage to stand there while he was being attacked, and stood there and landed his.
And we mentioned Lark on that 9-fight winning streak coming into the last fight, and won a close decision. So he's hoping to extend that win streak in this one, but just took another right hand from Napoles.
While we're speaking of talking to the fighters in between, which we have one of our favorites who has done that over the course of time is Amelia Moore, our colleague and pal, and we wish her luck in her fight tonight. She's fighting tonight in Boston, and we may see her tomorrow night on the telecast. So best of luck to our buddy Amelia Moore, and hope we see you tomorrow.
And in the meantime, some pain for Malik Lark from a low blow of Napoles. I don't know if a point's being deducted. I don't think so.
But they do give you some time.
Yeah, that one was extraordinarily low.
They've given people, they didn't need it here. We've seen them give up to 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can. And Lark coming forward with urgency here. And Napoles showing what he did in Napoles coming forward, excuse me, because he wants to take advantage of that.
Yeah, these guys are fighting like two guys who are used to winning, coming off what they did earlier. Good skills from both.
I think this, Napoles doesn't have a glittery record in team boxing. To me, this show, oh my, big right hand. Yes.
Oh. The embarrassment of riches for Miami continues. You do everything else well, and then you get to punctuate that at the end. Well, let's see how hungry he is for add-ons. Regardless of the team score, your eyes get wide when you see that.
Napoli's came into this with a 2-3 record in team boxing. Tonight, he's putting himself on the map with 2 great performances.
The win and the extra point. That's going to make him feel good.
And he is feeling the joy about this. Yeah, straight right hand, and he landed many of those in his first match. And give Malik Lark credit for getting up and continuing the rest of this round. Yeah. I mean, he's wandering all over the ring there, and amazingly was able to get up.
That looked like the equilibrium shot.
Yeah, good solid right.
He got rewarded.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 18 by unanimous decision. 2 points awarded to Miami's Yossi de la Napoles. Round 19 will be contested in the welterweight division. For Miami, Wilemeski Joseph. For Dallas, it'll be Mauricio King.
To Miami, continuing to make a statement in the opening week. We saw San Antonio do it last week. We saw Atlanta do it last night.
And Mauricio King was able to stop a losing streak by getting a win in his first outing this evening. And that was back when the Dallas Enforcers were right in the hunt. And he's hoping to do it again. And for Joseph, he lost his debut in team boxing in that first round. He'd like to see if he could even things up against King.
Now, Joseph has a good style for this fight, and King got off the schneid in winning that. I sure think that the uppercut would be there for him.
Oh, my. Well, another big right hand.
And again, it is all Miami. The right hand is there. The shot is there. And it's contagious.
Yeah.
Power punching and big victories are contagious in Team Boxing League.
We've had 3 monstrous right hands by Nestor Santana and by Yossi del Napoles, and now by Wilemeski Joseph. One punch that had a huge impact on fights. And has won them 3 rounds in a big way.
1 equals 4.
And here is, he's got that jab, the left hand out there kind of in a bad spot, and which we say it's unorthodox. Well, that time it cost Mauricio King. And Joseph, who has 6 knockouts in his 8 wins in the professional boxing world outside of team boxing, just showed you why.
Well, talking about the uppercut was going to be good because to use the height and reach, make your opponent come in. That was a different version of using the height and the reach effectively. And terrific. I mean, and these are unbelievable confidence-building triumphs for fighters.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 19 by knockout victory, 4 points going to Miami's Wilemeski Joseph. Our next round is brought to you by, if you're watching these athletes give everything in the ring, ask yourself how you can supplement like them. Balance of Nature is offering 35% off tonight only with the code TEAM at balanceofnature.com. At lightweight for Miami, Claudio Moreno. For Dallas, Jack Sambiaku.
Guerrero and Sambiaku.
This was one of those matches going in where we thought, honestly, this competition was going to be pretty close at this point, and this might have been a, you know, an important round. It is still to these men for a lot of reasons, but not so much for the team competition.
So they build on the concept that you are always being evaluated, and you want to keep your spot on the roster, and you want that team win, but right now you're in there for that and to please your coaches and to have somebody pick up on what you're doing.
And for Marrero, he came in with 20 wins against only 7 losses in team boxing, and with that loss to Malik Lark in the first in the opening rounds, the launch rounds, you know, that left a bad taste in his mouth, I'm sure. So he'd like to change that dynamic in this match. And Sambiaku also lost a match that I think he thought he was going to win.
Yeah, losing earlier. So you get that revenge motif. You want to right the ship. You don't want to go with 2 losses.
There's Sambiaku landing a really good right hand. And we saw him do that in the previous fight, but it was the right hands coming back at him when he fought his first fight that really had more of an impact.
He's going to throw his right hand and bring it right back.
Yeah, he was in against Napoli's, and we saw how good Napoli's right hand was in just a fight or 2 ago. So he'd like to get that right hand in again against the southpaw. And Marrero's fighting very, you know, in the first fight, he was not getting his offense going as quickly as he'd like. And I think a little bit of that in this round as well for him.
Miami off to a nice, huge lead, trying to put a nice finish to this and build for its next contest and for Dallas. Hey, get everything you can.
You know, Sambiaku is a really good body puncher, and in team boxing even scored a knockout with a body punch, but he hasn't been able to get close enough to land those, although he's done some good offensive work here before Marrero started this assault.
And Marrero teeing off on the inside.
And for the first time, we're seeing the right hook of Marrero, which is a very good weapon. And this is a different version of him than we've seen in this round.
Explosive, but he pays for it.
Wow.
It's a different version, and it did not, you open up and you are vulnerable, and once in a while, you'll pay the price for it. Opportunity, it's risk reward.
And Sambiaku, known as a right-hand artist, used the left hook to add a point to him and to Dallas.
Well, that's a nice feeling for Dallas in this. And you never stop fighting. You're Dallas here, you take advantage.
Marrero in the midst of an assault, but here's the left hook from Sambiaku. And again, that's not his signature power punch, but he landed a good one. And that kind of bounced off the temple, again, an equilibrium shot that we talk about in boxing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 20 by unanimous decision. 2 points awarded to Dallas's Jack Sambiaku.
So it's been a big night for
round 21
Miami, but Jack Sambiaku says, don't forget us. We have some highlights too. We're back to take it down the home stretch in Team Boxing League right after this. Miami on fire, both for the beautiful scenic and for what the Miami Assassin are accomplishing in this team boxing league matchup against the Dallas Enforcers. Let's go back inside and go down the home stretch.
Ladies and gentlemen, round 21 at featherweight for Miami. Once again, Samantha Ginnethan. For Dallas, Shilmaine Michaela Rampage.
This is a rematch of what happened earlier, and Ginnethan got a nice victory right in the middle of the Miami surge that was the beginning of their put away.
Yeah, it was at a significant point. You make a good point, Dave, and it helped turn the tide even more for them. Rampage was able to occasionally get some good right hands in during that round against Ginnethan. Let's see if she can try to build on that a little bit and get some measure of success for Dallas.
We'll try to cut down this distance first, and Ginnethan showing you why she won that first matchup. Very pesky with the jab, busy.
And was a Rookie of the Year candidate in 2024.
Oh, look, they both decided to jump the break at the same time, so they couldn't put it over on each other.
The Ginnethan jab was really effective in the first time they boxed tonight, and now her straight left hand is, we just saw it a moment ago, is becoming a big weapon for her. I mentioned that Rampage lost 2 of her 3 losses before the loss tonight to Shaquilla Ellis, who won twice last week on the fights you did, and she is terrific. So 2 losses to her are not any shame.
You almost don't count them in a way. It's a different circuit.
She's almost unbeatable, isn't she? Ginnethan looking away.
She almost paid for that.
Wow.
Protect yourself at all times. She heard some coaching, and somebody got her attention. It's fighting on emotion and instinct, and so you see how you might react to something.
He's a resident of Las Cruces, New Mexico. He has a pro record of 1-0-1, but he has 18 team boxing league fights, so she's committed and active in this league. And Rampage from Davenport, Iowa, the home of the great Michael Nunn.
Yes,
great
indeed. Yes.
Hall of Famer and middleweight champion.
One of your favorite fighters back in that time. We had him on ESPN and showcased him a lot.
Great fighter. And
see what this intervention is
Ginnethan
about.
Being taken over. I want to guess. Oh my!
Here we go.
Big clash of heads.
And they'll evaluate this. And now, normally, if it's not going into the eye, they let you go. But if they also think it's deep, they'll say no.
And both women with clashes of heads, with cuts, and they're in there working on Ginnethan, and now finally someone comes in for Rampage. But both women cut from that clash of heads.
It's unfortunate we've seen very little of that in the league so far this year. But when you get aggressive fighters looking often to get low and get that positioning, this happens.
Here's where the clash of heads come. Left-handers, well, we didn't see the heads come together there, really.
Trying to get low.
I think
may not have been that, but maybe it was in
this spot here. Yeah, there it is. I think that's right where it happened. And both women rubbing looking at their foreheads.
Isn't it just something that some little moment like that can cause so much damage?
And the only way you're ever going to get a cut in those spots is because of a clash of heads, not really a punch. And obviously this fight is not going to continue.
Safety first. And that's the type of stuff that will require stitches. It will be a layoff. Another look, and we think this is where it happened.
Yeah,
oh, there
that's
you go.
Definitely it. And the severity of that, we understand. We can now, after looking at that, you can understand how it created such a bad cut, especially for Rampage.
Yeah, the speed of the heads coming together, and it's still trying to contain it.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to an accidental clash of heads, this round has been deemed a no contest. Therefore, neither team gets a point. Let's give a round of applause to Samantha Ginnathan and Michaela Rampage. No points awarded due to an accidental clash of heads. Thus, it is a no contest. But we turn our attention to round 22 of the money rounds. It is brought to you by Serenity Springs Recovery Center, a place of recovery and self-discovery. At super lightweight for Miami, Sofia Veretti. Show me Brianna Carrera of Dallas.
Veretti and Carrera. Saw them before.
Yeah, split decision win for Carrera, and very, very close, that matchup. One of the really closer fights in a moment where Dallas got the better of things.
Yeah, you can see it's that close. If you're on the short end, you say, hey, just a little bit different. If I can make a couple things happen, I can come out on the good end next time. Miami having a wonderful night. Exactly the way you want to open up a season. Trying to send a statement.
And we saw an example of that last week as well.
We have seen the San Antonio Hitmen do it. We saw the Atlanta Attack last night against Nashville in what was expected to be a closer matchup. And this one,
much like
on
this
paper,
one. Yeah.
on paper, a lot of close matches. But in this case, many of the matches themselves have been close, but Miami has won them.
That's right. Obviously, we've seen some big knockouts from Miami, but there were a number of them that were close decisions, like this one was when these two women met the first time this evening. Veretti trying to come forward. There's the right hand. She landed those fairly well in the first time they boxed, but not enough to get the decision. It was a split decision.
So the key is put more pressure on, get started early, expend more.
Carrera's counterpunching fairly effectively, which is probably why she ended up with that split decision the last time.
She had great perseverance in that first fight because she looked visibly frustrated at being unable to get in, but she stayed with it and stayed with the game and got in there and did just enough. If you give yourself a chance, you might get the call.
That's why she got her 11th win in team boxing. Like to get number 12 now. And it's up for grabs here, I think, still. And Veretti attacking, landing, but also getting hit with some counter punches by Carrera. Carrera, 22-year-old who's kind of getting her boxing career in gear. She's 3-0 in the professional ranks outside of team boxing.
Yeah, she's had a nice final minute in this fight.
Yeah, she has. Right hand countered by Carrera, too. Veretti has been very aggressive, but a couple times in this round has allowed herself to be hit with good counter punches.
All right, final minute is a good one for Carrera, and let's see if that is enough to give her the win. Can she make it a double for Dallas?
Have not seen much of that. Oh my, there's the cut. I didn't realize that there was that bad a cut.
We saw Carrera wiping her head.
We didn't, that must have opened up very late in the fight.
Crazy things run in streaks.
2 in a row, huh?
You do one, next one, same thing. And the problem for this is,
ladies and gentlemen, the winner
the
of
layoffs.
round 22 via split decision from Dallas, Brianna Carrera.
all right, so Brianna Carrera does give
Round
Dallas a
23,
double.
our penultimate round at super middleweight for Miami, Yusmel Ruiz. For Dallas, Emmanuel Calhoun.
Carrera may have nailed herself the 3rd star of the night with 2 points.
Very possible, yeah. Even in a losing effort for her team.
Not Ruiz. Calhoun.
Yeah, Ruiz was able to handle Calhoun in their first match, a very close decision. And Calhoun didn't do, I think, as much offensively as he wants to, and maybe he can ramp it up a little bit in this one and change that.
Good leaping lead right hand by Ruiz.
Mentioned Calhoun was in here off a 2.5-year layoff from any boxing. His one pro fight was in 2023, so maybe that first round helped shake off the ring rust a little bit.
Yeah, you get a sense of where you are, and you get the chance to come right back. I think it's nice to have a second chance. And that will be a slip.
He's Mel Ruiz from Boulder, Colorado, but of course originally Cuba. One of the many Cuban fighters that we have in this league, and of course he's with the Miami Assassin, which is a team where many of the Cuban fighters reside. Ruiz has a 4-0 record in the pro ranks outside of Team Boxing League, and even in Team Boxing, the win last time got him closer to a better record. He's 5-9 now, so he'd like to notch yet another victory at the beginning of this season. Nice right hand by Ruiz.
Yeah, he got nailed with that one against the southpaw style, the lead right hand. You walk right into it. And your record might be 5-9, and your goal then is to be an improved fighter and get your bearings for the second year. But here's some more.
He's energized, Ruiz, by landing that big right hand. And this is the Ruiz that we have not seen all the time in team boxing, right? And this is the one component of his that would put more victories, because he's a very solid fighter. I mentioned the undefeated pro record outside of team boxing. When he is aggressive like that, he's very tough to handle.
He's put together a nice sequence in the final minute of this round. Good left hook by Ruiz. Sensing more now.
Calhoun has not been able to land anything to really keep Ruiz off of him, to make him respect his punching power. And so Ruiz is able to come right in and do that kind of damage.
All right, so Calhoun is moving straight back and into the direction of the big bombs by Ruiz.
So a aggressive Yusmel Ruiz in this fight. That straight right hand was part of what started that aggression. It hurt Calhoun, got his attention, and then Ruiz was able to continue after that to attack, and there's an example of that as well. And he had Calhoun on his heels for most of that round.
Very well done for Yusmel Ruiz. We're celebrating early.
The winner of round 23 by unanimous decision from Miami, Yusmeil Ruiz.
And celebrating early with good reason as he puts another W up for
Our
Miami.
final money round here tonight. At featherweight for Miami, Victor Abreu. For Dallas, Nico Hernandez.
All right, the rematch of a win by Abreu back in fight number 2.
Remember back then when we thought this match might actually be the decider in this whole affair tonight? It has not worked out that way. Abreu with what might be called almost a minor upset against Hernandez. Abreu, the much more seasoned Team Boxing League performer and who moved his record to 8-1, but Hernandez coming in, you know, with all that amateur credential, including a bronze medal at the Olympics, plus undefeated as a pro outside of team boxing, and Abreu was able to control that round completely.
Yeah, we thought that this could be the decider. A good fight in any case. It was a round to watch no matter when they were going to have it.
Yeah, let me correct myself. 7-1 in the pro ranks outside of team boxing for Abreu. He's now 17-9 in team boxing, but obviously a lot more experience than Hernandez, who's making his team boxing debut.
Abreu continues to get off the mark first. It's a good jab.
Victor Abreu loves to come forward. He is one of those guys that he's not a monstrous power puncher. Even in the pro ranks, he's only got 3 KOs, but he kind of fights like he's a power puncher and wants to come in and land shots.
See the big shots taken from long range. Tries to get everything into them, but even if the knockouts don't come, if they shift your opponent, that might be good enough.
Right, you're landing big scoring blows. Hernandez, who is a very skilled boxer, and there you see the good jab from him, has not been able to get in rhythm tonight, really. And we haven't seen a lot of volume from him offensively in these 2 rounds. A little bit more in this round.
So as we head toward the final bell in this, reminder, be with us tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, the Boston Butchers and the Phoenix Fury. Right back here at the Team Boxing League. I said earlier, 2 of my favorite teams.
Can't wait.
Mirror images from how close they both got last year.
Yeah, had great years in the last season.
They had so many close matches, did Boston.
And I'll tell you what, the statement made tonight by the Miami Assassins is going to have a rippling effect in the Team Boxing League.
If you're watching from last night, the Atlanta Texans, I thought we were the people that made the statement last night.
Yeah, and they did, for sure. But a power explosion tonight from Miami.
And in both matches, the power explosion came in the middle rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
After what had been a competitive matchup. So from round 2 to round 24. Remember we saw one earlier that the fighters turned around in just a 2 fight.
Yeah.
With a break, and these guys had well more than an hour to think about what they wanted to try and do differently.
See if Victor Abreu can make it 2-0 tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of round 24 by unanimous decision from Dallas, Nico Hernandez.
Well, we thought it would be the fights to watch, and they split. So the parity was right there, and Dallas gets the last word on this one in a 23-9 triumph for Miami. That explosiveness in the middle. Well, a great night for Miami, and we'll be back for some putting a cap on it right after this.
Team Boxing League action. That is Envoy TV for all things Team Boxing League. Thank you.
We're out. We're done. I want you right in the middle. My man, on this side. Where's your coach?
Wide or tight? You'll do tight, I'll do wide? All right.
Stand next
All right,
to
I
her.
do have the wider lens.
The two squeeze in over here. Three girls move back just a step. Back just a step. Coach, I need you on this side. All right, guys. This is going to be our score of the night. Number 2, number 3, round of the night, winning coach. He's going to be standing right next to the store. The interviews that we're doing, store of the night, winning coach first. Then we're going to do our store of the night, and then we're going to do our VIP. Okay? Coach, you're going to be up first. Right here. All right. You know where we're going?
Blake, you good?
Tomorrow, TBL Team Boxing League heads to New England for an East versus West showdown. We'll see if Charles Pugh and the Phoenix Fury dons their mask as they take on Ronald Ellis and the Butchers of Boston. Team Boxing League is brought to you by Balance of Nature. Round 19 was the big one here.
Well, Willemski Joseph, the third fighter for Miami to land big right hands. His was the biggest and got him the star of the night.
What a terrific performance for him. All right, so let's find out more. We go inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, your final score, the Miami Assassins 23, the Dallas Enforcers 9, Miami victorious. Let's take a look at our 3 stars of the night. Your third star of the night, Dallas lightweight Jack Sambiaku. Your second star of the night, Miami heavyweight Nestor Santana. And your Balance of Nature first star of the night, Miami Assassins welterweight Willemski Joseph. And our round of the night is round 3 between Ali Pajuelo Valle and Montserrat Carmona. All right, we are joined alongside by the victorious head coach, Herman Caicedo. Herman, what a way to begin this season for your team. It was collectively an overall complete performance. Stylistically, we saw some power. How impressed were you by your team here tonight?
Very much so. You know, we work hard all year round. We look forward to, since starting with the Team Boxing League, to compete every single year, and the goal is still the same, to get to the championship and win it all. So very excited.
Last night we saw Atlanta decimate Nashville. Tonight you guys had a dominating performance against Dallas. That'll be your next opponent. You travel to Atlanta week 4 on April 19th. Can you give us your thoughts on that impending matchup?
Well, you know, Sammy puts a good team together this year, and he's a good coach, and we're just going to clean up what little mistakes we made here and head to Atlanta and try to do the same.
Coach, we'll see you on April 19th. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much. Yep, absolutely.
Herman Caicedo, and now we are with Wilimowski Joseph. My goodness, what a performance. The #1 star of the night. You went ahead and knocked out Mauricio King, and you did it in style. How did you accomplish it?
I mean, he was showboating. He kept moving his head the same direction. I just punched where I thought he was going to be, and that was it.
Do you feel something special amongst your Miami Assassins teammates? Because I feel that there's an energy, there's a buzz, there's a vibe where you all feed off each other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody treats each other like family. Everybody work hard, and we just come to win, and that's all we're going to do.
April 19th, you match up against Atlanta. Give us your thoughts.
Oh, same thing like over here. You know, easy money, easy win.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wilimowski Joseph, our #1 star of the night. And now we have a very special guest, a 4-time New York State Golden Gloves champion, a Hall of Famer, Alicia Ashley. Alicia, give us your thoughts on what you saw here tonight between Miami and Dallas. Boy, did they go at it.
Yeah, I think Miami really had a complete fight tonight, especially with the heavyweights and the knockouts. They're well, a little bit more cleaner than the other team.
With your credentials, have you thought about possibly partaking in Team Boxing League? We see a variety of different fighters that come in. We see fighters of all weight classes, women, etc.
I've completely retired.
But if this was around when you were in your peak and in your prime, I'm sure it was something that you would endeavor into.
I did. I mean, I did the WCL, which was kickboxing, so it was the same thing. And I enjoyed it, so I definitely would have done this.
How great is Team Boxing League for the entire sport of boxing and combat sports in general?
It's great because it gives a nice highlight on up-and-coming boxers. And because you're doing it as a team, you don't have to just be yourself. You can rely on everyone else to help along.
Well, Alicia, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at a very near TBL event.
I'll definitely be here to support Miami.
All right, Alicia Ashley joining us. Back to the studio.
All right, so now the 2 nights in a row we have seen bellwether performances, and tonight Miami deserving all the accolades.
They absolutely did, and one of the fighters that wasn't named in any of the stars, Yosidel Napoles, who also had great performances. And, you know, Wilimowski Joseph might have given some billboard material to Atlanta with his comments tonight. That's going to be a tremendous matchup coming up in the future.
Yeah, we see a lot of schooled boxing tonight, and then the explosive power in the middle rounds. And they raised the bar for Boston and Phoenix tomorrow night. They're looking at this and saying, hey, you guys are winning, pulling away here.
Yeah, they really did. And a big part of that was the power that came to play for the Assassins. We mentioned tonight it was going to be a kind of a close encounter with both these teams. And as you pointed out, there were rounds that were close, but the difference tonight was the power of Miami. And really, at the end of the day, that's what caused them to move ahead.
All right, so thanks, Al. Good observations all night long. And guess what? We're going to be going to New England tomorrow. The Team Boxing League heads to New England for an East versus West showdown. We'll see if Charles Pugh and the Phoenix Fury don their masks as they take on Ronald Ellis and the Butchers of Boston. It all starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, right here on the Team Boxing League. And tonight, the Team Supreme was the Miami Assassins as they do a great job. Thanks for joining us. For my pal